5-0. Back rocking the braids in 1995. But no blonde hair.
No, and grateful for that. I know she is. Jump shot will be on target as we approach the 16-minute mark. But 70-30, a 40-point lead in an NCAA tournament game. Tuck will get it back out for Jefferson. Helena Mosqueda-Lewis is a jumper away, and it might be this one. Can't hit there from going by Rebecca Lobo on the all-time scoring list for the number 7 spot.
Yeah, you know Rebecca's all worked up about dropping one spot on the all-time scoring list.
Really bothering her. Sanders out beyond the 3. Texas won 24 games during the season to earn a spot in the Sweet 16. A great accomplishment for them. But getting into a serious hole here in the second half. Well, it was the tail end of the first half, to be quite frank.
Hattis a couple of jump shots, getting some time in a blowout, and UConn operating against his zone. Last play was so pretty. They didn't make the shot, but their zone offense is nice.
Nurse up top, Helena. Stewart inside the foul line for 2.
They do such a good job against zones of moving bodies and moving the ball. In the last possession prior to that make, they had a little crossing action, good timing play, wide open jumper, just a miss.
Atkins for Sanders. Tuck out to guard. Rodrigo finds the big and Lang. Over the top, Hattis getting a lot of good looks here in the second half.
And Mariah Jefferson looking for some help. Somebody's got to inbound it.
We showed you the graphic earlier that UConn is winning by an average of 42 points per game this season. That's what they're outscoring their opponents. And should it end like that, it'll be an all-time NCAA record for margin of victory. Stewart grabs the board and draws the foul. And Brianna Stewart has had a great day. Will be at
each and every single possession. They want to win every possession, and that is the ferocious attitude that makes UConn special.
You know what, Holly? I've often said to reporters who ask what's behind the dominance, nice little pass inside and pinned by Kelsey Lang. I've often said to reporters who want to know the secret to success, said if you want to understand why Connecticut has won 9 national titles in position to win their 10th, watch them practice for 10 minutes. Watch how hard everything is done. And the 2 things that maybe offend him more than anything, fouling and turnovers. I mean, we've played how many minutes, and they have 4 turnovers. And again, Texas is a well-coached team. You look at their defensive numbers, they've been sound.
Stewart trying to add to her total, and she does with a 2-pointer. 28 points now for Brianna. Losing track on all her scoring here today. 75-36. She is 1 away from her high, career high of 29 in a regular season game. Shot clock down to 11.
You can see they want to keep you on one side of the floor.
Back out for Atkins. And in close, can't get that one to fall. Stewart's there for the rebound. They actually called that a 2-pointer a moment ago. So she's at 27 to reset her point total.
Oh, only 27.
She also has 12 rebounds.
And there'll be a point where she doesn't play. She's going to get off the floor. There was much discussion about who should be the ESPNW.com Player of the Year. That went to Jewel Lloyd, a very worthy recipient. Stewie would have also been a worthy recipient. And our 2 outstanding writers, Michelle Vopel and Graham Hayes, sort of went back and forth in an essay, making the case for each, both well stated.
12:49 remaining, 27-12 for Stewart. Most of that damage in the first half when they really ran away from the Longhorns and had a huge lead at halftime. Tuck bouncing for Stewart, driving that baseline. Give her 2 more and 29. That ties her season high. 10 for 15 shooting. We came on the air talking about she likes this court because she's won a high school state championship here. She's from North Syracuse in Cicero, Ohio. In fact, twice played in the state championship on this very floor.
I'd say that if you have a game as good as hers, most courts are going to be friendly confines.
I think the rims like you wherever you are if you're Brianna Stewart. Atkins shut down up top. Hattis looking inside. And they're going to get Stewart for the foul. She'll pick up the personal, number 2 on the Player of the Year. NCAA tournament, including the first 2 games. Now 29 on top of that. And then, of course, when you get to the Final Four, no one's better.
Yes.
Most outstanding player twice. First 2 times she's ever played in it.
Well, you have to go back to her freshman season to remember. I mean, that was not a smooth ride. It was rocky at times. Gina Auriemma sat her on the bench, and I know Rebecca has made that point. He coaches his best player like he coaches every player.
Jefferson picks it up, scoops and hits.
Remember, I mean, the discussion was how would she respond in
Very
the postseason?
vividly, yeah.
And, well, guess what? Most outstanding player.
Atkins with a mid-range jumper for 2. Ariel Atkins, good-looking shot. The freshman from Duncanville, Texas. Same high school that produced Empress Davenport.
You know, with the score being what it is, it's hard to imagine as Jefferson gets another 3 to go. I think under Karen Aston, who has made great progress in her 3 years as the Texas head coach, I believe with their recruiting and the talent-rich state that is Texas, and it's an athletic department you're going to want to play for because their athletes have the best of everything. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with under Karen Aston in the future.
Nurse back out high for Tuck. Jefferson is a 21-point game. Points keep on coming for Stewart. Virtually every shot she has taken from about the 10-minute mark of the first half, and now a block. There's a foul there as they whip them. Louisville advancing to the Elite 8 in the last 2 seasons.
Dayton all season long has been a really fun offensive team to watch. If you like offense, which broadcasters like offense, we like to see the ball go through the basket. You're going to like watching Jim Jaber's squad. He gives them a lot of freedom, as he told us yesterday. I try very hard not to teach my team plays. I try to teach them how to play.
See how it works out against a battle-tested Louisville team. Turned over again by Texas. Been a huge issue today. Esqueda Lewis using the screen off the back iron. And one of the players that Gina was talking about is Sanders dishes, but Hattis can't handle the pass. Now heavy traffic.
Wow.
And another block there and a jump ball. It's once again Thea Stokes, who has 6 or 7 today.
At the half, you heard Rebecca and Kara talking about this big lineup and how it can, I believe it was Kara who said, it can affect your psyche. This is what Kara Lawson's talking about. You don't feel good after you get that kind of shot block.
So you say to yourself, Brianna Stewart's out of the game, and for the last 9 minutes, she's likely to sit. And yet 31 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. And won't even play the last 9 minutes or so. Here's Kalina again, in and out there. Getting closer, however, to that NCAA record. The all-time 3-point record. Came into the day today needing 7 threes to set a new career record. And so far she's hit 2.
If you remember right before the South Carolina game when there was much ado about Coach Auriemma sitting Brianna Stewart and Morgan Tuck and not playing them, you look at the offensive numbers for Brianna Stewart from that point forward and the kind of performances she's had in those limited minutes that you're talking about. She's been pretty good. You accept the challenge of your coach and you elevate your game.
But Brianna Stewart has begun to make this time of the year her time of the year. The bigger the game, the better she is. And the more damage she does. Jefferson's jumper. She's had a great day as well. Jefferson now with 23 points. 9 of 10 shooting. For the little point guard from Glen Heights, Texas. And you know she's really getting an extra kick doing it against this Texas Longhorn team. Esqueda Lewis shoveling here for Jefferson. A very unselfish UConn team. 4 different players with 100 assists. Stokes will swing it. Here's the long one and well short. And a battle for the rebound. It'll go back to Texas.
To us about his former player, Rebecca Lobo, who called him this season, texted him and said, I want you to watch the movie Whiplash, an Oscar-nominated movie about a young boy who enters a cutthroat music position, and the maestro is so hard on him, almost pushes him to the breaking point. So Gino watched the movie, and he said, I want my whole team to watch it. One practice, instead of practicing, they watched the movie. And what he wanted his kids to get out of that movie is it wasn't about the maestro, who was a little psychotic, and how hard he pushed the kid. It was about the kid, that the kid was pushed to his breaking point, but at the end of the day, he came through with flying colors. The players we spoke to said we could really relate to that movie. We saw Gino in that maestro and how hard he pushes you. He is going to push you to the breaking point and then push you even further. And when we said, is it worth it? They all said yes.
Psychotic.
A little psychotic.
A little psychotic. And apparently he texted Rebecca after he watched it and said, really, Rebecca, what are you trying to say to me here?
Rebecca, of course, the 5-0 you were talking about earlier. Lang scoops up the rebound, can't connect in close. Hattis hits the deck, tangled up. Texas will have it on the possession hour with a little over 7 to go.
I would say that his coaching methods can be exacting and demanding, but ultimately at the end of the day, it is absolutely worth it. And I think, you know, one of the things Chris Daly has talked about over the years is they ask the players, what are your goals here? And Chris, of course, has been there every step of the way, an integral part of the success, and what a relationship between the two of them. But she said, once you tell us I want to be an All-American, there's a price to be paid, and they will exact that price.
Atkins can't hit. Loose again, scooped up by Stokes. Why do you think he didn't show him Hoosiers? Everybody loves Gene Hackman in Hoosiers. He's got that great scene where he gathers the players together right before the championship game and says, I love you guys. There's a great feel about the affection the coach has for the players and vice versa. It's a wonderful scene. Apparently not this year. We still got time.
Yeah.
As UConn is moving on again. Here's Chong from the wing. She's getting into the game, getting some of the minutes. Here at the end as Jefferson shreds him again for 2 more and gets a standing O from her teammates on the bench. .25 today for Mariah Jefferson. McCarty rattles in a 2-pointer. UConn racing toward 100 points here in round 3, and a timeout. Gino Auriemma. 6:13 remaining. 25 for Jefferson as she steps out, along with 6 assists and 4 rebounds. Stewart already on the bench with 31. Elena Mosqueda-Lewis with 10. Up top for Nurse. So some of the subs getting a chance to get in. Gabby Williams, who wears number 15 for the Huskies. There's Sanaya Chong, who actually started the first 2 games of the season. Actually had 20 points against Stanford in that loss in November. Blocked away by Hattis. Shot clock's down to 1. 5:49 remaining.
Boy, Hattis has shown us a couple of things.
Foul deep into the corner with just under 6 minutes to go. And they'll get Hattis for that. It'll be her second. Quick inbound, off target by Nurse. McCarty trying to drive it. Williams shut her down. Gabby Williams, a 5'11 freshman, getting minutes here. She was named to the all-conference team in the American. Turned over, Nurse has it. She'll drive it strong, and she is fouled by Sanders. 90-48. The NIT down to its Final Four. Semifinal action tips off on Tuesday at 7 Eastern. Miami taking on Temple. On ESPN, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 89 NCAA championships.
Both of those teams spent extended time on that dreaded bubble talk, and I think Temple left the American Conference Tournament thinking they were in, as you see Breanna Stewart massaging some of those bruises that she first acquired against Rutgers, fell on earlier today. What do you like in that matchup, Miami-Temple?
Well, you know, you and I saw a lot of both of them. I like Temple a lot. I thought Temple should have gone to the NCAA tournament.
I did as well. I think it shows you on the men's and women's side, there is a lack of respect for the American Conference. And because once there were a couple of at-large teams that were bubblicious, and Temple, once the bracket started to unfold, you knew they had no chance. I thought they were good enough, to be honest. Their guard play is exceptional.
I remember their big win, an easy win over Kansas which really told you a lot about him. Nurse, long range, will bury a three. Kia Nurse, the freshman from Hamilton, Ontario, with a lot of international experience.
I don't think she's ever really conducted herself like a freshman all season long. And after the Stanford loss, that was the change made. You know, Sanaya Chong, as you mentioned, was in the starting lineup that first game, but you know, Nurse is a more complete player, a better defender, and so Gina Oriama didn't hesitate, made the switch in that lineup quickly.
Stokes on the baseline, lays it in. So even though they have the giant lead and it's mainly subs now for the Huskies, they continue to run their stuff pretty crisply.
Yeah. That's the expectation. You don't play to the score. Holly just gave that great report on it. It's not about the score. It's about how you conduct yourself in that uniform.
Breonna Taylor coming on for Texas. So this will be win number 35 and a 34th consecutive win for the Huskies. Sanders off the inbounds, banks in two. So Texas gets to 50.
I'm really looking forward to Louisville-Dayton. You know, I think Louisville is as most teams are, a very good scout team. I don't think they're going to give up threes easily. They'll force Dayton to try to make some contested twos.
The bounce for Nurse. This one won't fall. Rebound batted around by Williams. Hattis dribbles it off her own foot, out of play. We'll take a break here. 3:41 remain. Tennessee, their men won last night. NCAA Women's Basketball Championship presented by Capital One on ESPN.
You and I had Maryland last week. In fact, very much wanted to see that team because what Brenda Fries and her team has achieved this year, to me, has been pretty special. You know, you lose so much in Alyssa Thomas, who had been the face of your program every year she was in uniform. You go to a new conference and you waltz through the Big Ten undefeated. You love the guard play of Shatari Walker-Kimbrough and Lexi Brown. I'm very anxious to watch that team play in this next round.
Well, some in the crowd anxious to see UConn get to 100 points. Sitting at 99, approaching 3 minutes to go. Sanaya Chong using a hard screen, a little bit too hard, and the foul will go against Gabby Williams of the Huskies. And let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, when we spoke to Texas about possibly facing UConn today, every single player said that they were looking forward to this opportunity. They wanted to learn from this experience and learn what it's like to go against the best. The thing that Karen Aston is the most excited about, every single player that is playing for her right now returns next season. Plus, they add a couple of McDonald's All-Americans. So think about what Texas could be next year. They will learn from this, absorb what it took, and hopefully come back even better and stronger next season.
And those two top 50 players, that's what I was talking about, Holly. I think that this program is moving in the right direction. I think Karen Aston, when she described what she feels taking over for, you know, a legend in the women's game, Jody Conrad, and all of the tradition and history that this program has, I feel responsible. And I think that's a great starting point.
Jody's here, by the way.
Yes.
She's been watching the Texas Longhorns. And a quick timeout. One of the greats right there, Texas women's coach from 1976 to 07.
The head coach of that 1986 team, one of the outstanding and more memorable moments in NCAA women's tournament history for me was Kami Etheridge in a wrap around the back pass that was truly extraordinary.
2:15 left. Here's Zekmark off the bench. Freshman from Phoenix, Arizona. And a whistle in the lane with 2:12 to play.
Now that 2006 national title for Maryland that we just showed you the clips of, oh, how close Gail Gestencourse came during her incredibly successful run at Duke.
Quick inbounds pass. Chong draws the foul. So they get over 100, 101. And Chong for a three-point play. Sanaya Chong, the sophomore, at the line.
You know, it doesn't matter the score, the time. It's how hard do you play, how well do you execute.
UConn, their 8th 100-point NCAA tournament game in school history. So if you're Dayton and Louisville and you're waiting to take the floor, one of you on Monday night will have to face this locomotive called the UConn Huskies. What's going through your mind right now?
Right. Well, first of all,
you're not thinking about Connecticut.
Not yet. You absolutely have a hard 40 minutes in front of you. I know Jeff Walz was asked that question. You know, are you looking past Dayton? And he said, "Are you serious? Is that really a legitimate question?" He knows how many points Dayton could score, how good they've been offensively, one step at a time.
Now, both teams are a lot of fun to watch. Nice dipsy-do move there for two. Texas tagging on a few at the end here, but under 90 seconds and trailing by 50.
I thought in his interview with Holly Rowe, Gino said something really telling. And I think, you know, Kara and Rebecca talked about this, or typically do the first time we come on the air in the tournament. They talk about #1 seeds in that first game. And the disparity is usually great in talent level. But how sharp are you? What kind of momentum? What kind of start do you build? And Gino said it. We're trying to build momentum here.
And I think he made a great point there with Holly as Ekmark sticks the three. So everybody scoring today for the Huskies. Courtney Ekmark, pretty good player out of Arizona, high school Gatorade Player of the Year, in fact, in that state, before signing with Gino Auriemma. But under 1 minute, our second game coming up, Louisville and Dayton, with a winner to take on the defending national champs. And their 10th. So that'll be on Monday night. UConn to meet the winner of Louisville and Dayton. Chong's jumper is a bit too strong. The Louisville men with a terrific victory last night. It's going to be an offensive foul. Stop the clock with 30.1 to go.
You and I saw that Louisville team on multiple occasions. To me, the run by Rick Pitino is you see what UConn has outscored opponents by in the first 3 rounds. They were so offensively challenged at certain games. Really, what a run by Rick Pitino.
It's been said before.
Yeah.
About Coach Pitino. He and Jeff Walz are pretty tight. And I'm sure they have exchanged some texts after the men won last night. And the women are about to take the floor right here in Albany in just a matter of minutes. UConn led in this game 26-19 with about 9.5 to go in the first half. Texas was still very much in it. And then a 26-5 run ended the first half. Brianna Stewart had 14 during that run. She had a great game.